Welcome. We are in studio with the former lead guitarist and also current lead guitarist for the band Korn. Welcome, my friend, Brian Head Welch.
Welcome.
What is happening?
What is happening?
What is
you
happening?
are the former lead guitarist and the current lead guitarist.
Figure
Can
that
you
one out.
explain
Yes,
that?
please explain that to me because
Actually-
we were eating, right? And I have to maintain my figure. And as he said you were back in Korn, and I lost my mind.
You did?
I did.
She didn't know.
Because I didn't understand this.
She considers herself a fan, and she didn't know anything about
I
you.
went to a Korn concert, and I know. Don't let this dress tell you different.
Yeah, they made you wear
Okay.
that dress.
Yes.
Okay, well, actually, I have an opening question, though.
Okay,
Very
go ahead.
important, because a lot of people are watching. They've never met Brian before, so I got to ask the opening question. He's heard me ask this question before.
Uh-oh.
Right, here's a question. Come on, seriously, level with us. What's with the hair? Come on.
Wow.
What's going on? What is happening?
Because that's more spiritual.
Right?
Your hair.
What's with the hair?
John
and the
the
tats.
Baptist
Really?
was a weirdo.
Really?
Why can't I be a weirdo and love
He
Jesus?
was a Rastafarian also? Actually, if you
I
watch the
don't know.
Bible miniseries, Samson was a Rastafarian.
Yeah,
Have you watched
Samson.
that? Yeah. No, seriously, you're a metalhead. So for the folks who don't know about Korn, when did where did you grow up? How'd you get into this? When did the band start? And tell us your, the background.
Well, to go back to the first question, yes, I was a former, now I'm a current member of Korn. But
Yeah.
if you ask the people on Facebook, that they'll say, I returned to my vomit like a dog, like it says in the scripture. But if you ask God, he'll say, I have a plan for this situation.
We're gonna get to that on the
Okay,
back
okay,
end because
okay.
that's where we're going.
Yes.
So yeah, I grew up like 2 hours north from here, and from Los Angeles.
Albany, yeah.
And I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to make my guitar sound like Eddie Van Halen or George Lynch or all these other guitar players, Randy Rhoads. And so I practiced left and right. I practiced like every day. I was in my room just doing that thing, and suddenly I made my guitar sound like theirs, and I was like, wow, I can, I wasn't as good as them, but I was getting close.
Your guitar was.
Yeah. And so my guitar was, but I made it.
Yeah.
All right?
Right, okay.
So anyway, I met the guys in Korn when we were like teenagers, and we got in these little cheesy bands. We all ended up in LA, and we formed Korn.
Korn spelled with a K.
Yeah,
Just
K.
for the people at home trying to Google it, it's spelled
Yeah.
with a K and a backwards R.
Yeah.
Which you cannot get on your keyboard. So
And a backwards O too, so you can't tell.
I thought it was
I'm just
upside
joking.
down. I thought it was upside down. Seriously, come on. You're messing with us. Go ahead.
So yeah, we ended up forming Korn, and we wrote songs, and we just started playing Hollywood, doing the whole thing. And next thing you know, we had labels and a manager like shopping us. We got a deal, recorded an album, and there we were off to our
You got big
dream.
quick.
Yeah.
You got big quick.
Yeah.
And were you married at that time? Because where were you in life besides that? You were still how old? I mean, at that point.
23.
You were
when I got
23, so
signed,
you're
yeah.
a pretty big deal in your early 20s.
It was crazy because I was not a big deal at all. I worked at Pizza Hut, and I was living on tips, and I quit my job when I found out we were going to get a record contract, and but it got delayed. So I was I was living on people's couches, and then all of a sudden I got the check fell in my lap, like 40 grand or something, and I was like, I'm rich.
So you're a rock star. You made it. At that moment.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it happens like that.
Yeah.
Rock stars.
No, but we use
the
that
Hollywood
term
life.
generically, like, oh, he was a rock star. But he literally was a rock star.
Yes.
No, it took a while to become a rock star, but
Yeah, like 8 months, 8 hard months, I know.
No, seriously. How long? When you guys started, how
He's
long did
right.
it take until the big, like you said, that moment when it happened?
Okay, it started getting pretty crazy 8 months into it. You're right. We went gold on Ozzy
That was a
Osbourne
Rima
tour.
word of knowledge.
So,
Shazam. The Holy Spirit.
But the thing is, I didn't have the money like a rock star until 3 or 4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a gold record, but we were making.
Okay, but the reason I know your story is because it went south dramatically. And you tell us about that. I mean, you are literally a rock star. There's drugs, there's women, there's everything that people associate with that world.
Yeah.
I'm sure for a while it was fun.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you asked a question earlier, was I married? Yeah, I had this girl before Korn, that we were together, and somehow we made it through the craziness, and I married her in 1998, about 3 years into my career, and you know, we had a baby. Her name's Janaea, and so I tried. It was like this life of like wanting to be a rock star and party, and do the whole music thing. But then I wanted to come home and have a wife and a kid and everything. So it was like all of us in the band were like that. Just like we wanted it all, but we wanted, you know, normalcy too. So, but yeah, the drugs and the crazy, like you get that big, you know, and you have like all the drug dealers in every town want to come to the show and like sell you their stuff, and so, and all the girls want to come hang backstage, and I didn't like the touring part of it, and I didn't like just you know, getting the notches on my belt, you know, getting the women and stuff like that. I was more about the music and creating the albums and stuff. The touring I didn't like, but I fell into it, and I fell into the drugs. I fell into the just that lifestyle. I mean, everything, Vicodin habit, cocaine, speed,
And
everything.
before being in Korn, were you addicted to drugs, or the addiction started with the whole rock star movement?
I tried mushrooms a few times, and I remember staring at my stereo, and it turned into like a giant stereo, so I was afraid of mushrooms, and I never did those again. I tried weed when I was in high school, and I sat there for 4 hours and didn't know what I was doing. I just fell into some zone. I was like, this is stupid. So I didn't do drugs really until later in my early 20s.
The feds could be watching this show, so be careful what you admit.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, sometimes the narcs, you know, they're flipping around. So.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
but so I mean, I know your story because we talk backstage. I mean, I know you from I Am Second, and
Yeah.
again, I always say to people, go to iamsecond.com. Amazing stories. Your story is one of the most popular stories on the website, just because it's so dramatic what happened to you. But I mean, tell what happened. I mean, when you had the meltdown. I mean, I don't remember the specifics, but I remember it's amazing.
Yeah.
well, I think I recall in your book Save Me From Myself, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you were just in that dark place and you wanted to get out. And I remember reading that moment when you went to the bathroom to throw away your, I think, last time of taking drugs.
Yeah.
How intense was that for you? Because that's not easy to do for someone who's dealing with addiction and to come to that point.
Yeah. Well, I just had, you know, Christ came into my life, so I have felt this power to be like, to face this biggest fight of my life.
Wait, hold on, back up. What do you mean Christ came into my life? You're everything's melting down, and so in the middle of that, somehow you're reaching out toward God. What precipitated that?
Okay, yeah, let me take you back. My worst part was the worst time of my life was when I got, you know, I was juggling the drugs and everything, and me and my wife were messing around with them, and the biggest drama thing happened in my life where she had like a bunch of skinheads move into my house when I was on tour with Metallica. And like these guys were like full on like gang member.
Your wife invited skinheads into the house while you were on tour.
Yeah, and my baby was there and everything.
In any marriage, that's a deal breaker.
It is.
If I go home from
really
this
is.
trip and there are skinheads in my apartment, no, I mean, we joke, like, that's crazy. I mean, it
That's
sounds
intense.
like you're making
That's
it up.
very
You're
intense.
serious. I mean,
That's when
that's
it
amazing.
hit, like everything hit bottom. I was like, you know what? Okay, I was talking, I even talked to someone about like, you know, killing them or hurting these guys, because I was like, these guys can't come in my house, be with my wife. One of them was sleeping around with my wife. Who knows what was going on there? And my baby was there, so I was like, get these guys out, whatever. So what happened was I got a friend to go there. Luckily, those guys weren't there. I had a break in the tour. I went and grabbed my daughter. I became a single dad right then, and my wife.
You basically took your daughter out of there.
Yeah, and so I was like, you know, I'm a mess too, but I'm gonna get myself
You're less
together.
of a
I'm not
mess
gonna
than
let
that,
the
yeah.
baby go with skinheads and be raised by like wild animals. And so I cleaned up, and I got clean for like 4 months. I was eating vegetables, and like my body's like, what's this? It's all this goodness. And I'm like working out, and then 9/11 happened, and I got all stressed out with that. You know, World War III, everyone's talking about. So I started drinking again. I fell down the path, dark into speed after that. I promised I was going to do speed because of what the skinheads did, and I was like, those scumbags are losers, you know. And then all of a sudden, I got hooked on speed.
Wait, they were taking speed. You
Yeah,
knew that they were on speed.
Yeah, all the
Okay.
skinheads were all speed addicts and
Okay.
stuff. And I was a speed addict on and off. So it was like, you know, it was just.
It
I
was
in
on and
that
off,
life.
you weren't an addict.
Right.
Okay. You were just joy popping.
Yeah.
You could quit any time.
That's what I was
Yeah,
telling
right.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So but it got really bad after, you know, when I started doing it for that last 2 years. I took the stuff on the road. I became like the worst person ever. I was like, I would be cooking my daughter breakfast, like high on speed, like in the mornings and stuff. And I'd go on tour. I would take it all over the world. Sorry, feds, but you know, back in the day, I would hide it in my stuff and like take it to other countries. I had my dealer send it to me over to Europe and stuff. And
how could you play while you're so? I'm just
it's
asking
metal.
you.
Like, do you really have to play in metal?
That's very true. No,
just
you
joking.
do. Of course you do.
Yes,
That's the
you
But I'm
money
just
do.
quote.
thinking, like,
That's the money quote. We're going to use that.
Are
That's
you
incredible.
on like another level of just? Are you present? Are you not present? Because if you're playing and you have to sing and do all these things at the same time, and then you're completely high.
Well, I would
you-
like, I had a system. I was so smart. But I would do speed during the day, and I'd get all like, you know, my heart beating like crazy, and I'd be shaking, and then right before the show, I'd like drink like 4 beers and take Xanax, take a downer. So I was like mixing stuff, you know. Some of the friends in the music industry were dying from that stuff, you know, and just mixing uppers and downers, and so I was scared. But some of me was like, just, you know what? I hope I go to sleep tonight and just don't wake up, because I'm a rich rock star and I have everything the outside world says I have everything, but you know, inside I'm dead. So, and what good am I for my daughter? So that led me to hook up with these guys that were, by that time I had moved back to Bakersfield where we all grew up, and my parents were helping me with my daughter. I met some Christians, they invited me to church. I was like, who cares? You know, I'll try it. If these Christians are too weird or whatever, I'll go to a doctor. And
Well, it's kind of amazing that you were willing to go to church. I mean, you know, a lot of
Exactly.
people would just be.
Even run away from that thought of going to a
Yeah.
church, especially from the world that you were coming from.
well, this guy that took me to church also built like monster trucks and stuff, and he was like the coolest guy. So I was like, dude, I want to hang out with this guy. So like, God will use anything, right? And I was like making all kinds of money with him. We were doing real estate deals and like making money, and I was like, yeah, this guy's my buddy, and I'll go to church. But I wanted to go. It was like, I remember Christians didn't drink, cuss, or smoke. That's what I remember when I was a kid. So I was like, okay, they don't party. I don't want to party anymore. I'll just go hang out with them. I get there, and the pastor starts saying, Jesus is real. He'll come into your life if you invite him in, and all the negative stuff can't stay. And I was like, I was listening to him, and I was like, I'm going to try this. I went home with my drugs, and I just poured my heart out to God. I said, God, these drugs are going to kill me and leave my daughter without a dad. Please, if you're real, come into my life. Give me a new life. And with a long story short, I just had an encounter with God's love within the next few weeks, and man, I felt like Jesus came in and put his arms around me. I didn't see anything, but it was just like, it was a life-changing event. And I felt like I was at home for the first time. Like I was in my house, but like in my heart, I felt like I was home. Like, and I was instantly in love with God, and I gave him my life.
Now, I can only imagine how this sounded to your fellow band members at Korn. They must have thought you had flipped.
They thought I did one too many lines of methamphetamine.
Right. Yes, that was the only explanation.
Right.
So,
No, seriously, what was their reaction when you... Wait, did you have that moment that you knew, I can no longer be in Korn? Or was it easy for you to make that decision?
It wasn't like I can't be in Korn. It was like of God saying, Jesus saying, follow me out of this situation. Be a dad to your daughter, and let's go do something different with your life. And I'm like, I'm in. But I was like, okay, what about... We had a contract for like $23 million they ended up getting about 4 months after I left, and I didn't get a penny of that. So I was like, wait, it's a lot of orphans I could feed, you know? And I'm like, but I just felt like the Lord saying no.
After you had this
no.
experience, how long before you decided to leave the band? How long was that period?
It was within weeks, probably.
Within
like,
weeks.
Yeah,
so
probably
you just
7 or 8
decided
weeks or
that's
something.
it. So you got clean, no more drugs. You're spending time with your daughter.
Yeah.
Being a
And-
father, which is important.
And you're not making a living. I mean, you've saved some money and you're living off that, I guess. You're not playing anymore.
Right. Yeah. Well, I started doing a solo album.
You did,
And
okay.
yeah. And so I was dumping a bunch of money into that, and I just raised my kid, and I went through a lot of trials. I'd ask God for faith, and my money would grow wings and fly away, and I lost a lot, but He carried me through everything. He's so real,
Well, I mean, I'm just guessing for a lot of people at home, a lot of people, whether they think they're Christians or not, God is not that real. He's an idea. So that's why when you tell your story, on the I Am Second video, the fact that he was so real to you. I mean, for a lot of people want that, you know, but it's not a magic thing. I mean, God does that when he does that. But in your life, it's so clear that, you know, you wanted it and everything changed. I mean, he is real to you. And I assume that's, how many years ago is that now? It's like 14, 13 years ago?
9 years.
9 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So, but God, I just want to say God will become real to anybody who is serious about it. And it says, like, if you seek with your whole heart, you will find, you know. And he is totally, you know, he's no respecter of persons. He'll do what he does for one, he'll do for someone else. You just got to put in the time to seek him.
And like I was telling you before, when, you know, as an actor and I had my conversion, I felt completely lost. I really didn't know what to do. And I was saying that your book and Stephen Baldwin's book were one of the 2 books that I read like that in a moment. And I felt this connection. And I felt, wow, there's people out there who are still in that world, meaning Hollywood, but love the Lord. It was so foreign to me because I just didn't know anyone. So your book literally saved me through my journey, and also Stephen Baldwin's book. So I just want to say thank you.
Man,
because you never know who is going to, you know.
But his book's better than Stephen Baldwin's, right?
Stop.
Right? Come on.
Stephen Baldwin, he's interesting.
I love that dude.
He's a friend of mine, so I want to make fun of him every opportunity I get.
Of course. No, but I'm saying this because there's people out there right now, our viewers out there, who are watching this show. It's a new show. People may not get us. But the fact that someone like yourself who was in this world and you just love the Lord and how real that conversion was for you, it just speaks volumes. And I'm just letting you know I'm a girl from the Bronx and you touched me. So
Well,
thank
I'm
you.
honored. Thank you. That's very encouraging to me. And you know, he's more real to me today than he was then. Like, it's so awesome, man. It's the best life ever.
So today now you are back with Korn, right?
Yeah. So for
Please.
a while you've been
Talk to us.
You were out of that world, and I guess, and what have you been doing all this time? You've been doing solo stuff, and you've been doing a lot of ministry. I mean, God is so real in your life that you've been sharing Him in the music world, in the metal world.
When my book came out in 2007, I started going on and doing interviews about my story.
And what's the title of your book? Sorry.
Save Me From Myself.
Save Me From Myself. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
So, and then 2007, I started speaking churches all over.
Okay.
So, and then I started my solo music stuff, you know, started touring with that. And so, yeah, I've just been doing all this stuff for all these years. And then all of a sudden, I ended up at a Korn concert with my daughter. Wait, what do
you mean you ended up at a Korn concert?
Because I was on tour with POD, the Christian band POD.
Yeah.
And so they're like, they play a lot of like regular rock festivals too.
Yeah.
In fact, that's mainly what they do. And so they're like, hey, we got to leave the tour and go play at this rock festival. I'm like, well, yeah, what is it? And they told me, and I was like, hey, let me and my daughter go with you. Because she was like hounding me. She's 14 by then, and she's like, I love this band and this band and this band. And
so she wants to go with Daddy to one of these.
Well, she don't want to go with me, but I got all the backstage passes. So she's like, Dad. So anyway, yeah, I took her there. Korn happened to be playing. I ended up like reconciling with them, and I played one song with them, and everybody was in tears.
So that night,
yeah.
That night you played with them. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then after that, I got a call from the guitar player, and I'm just telling you, like, I had a lot of things just point to that direction of my life, that was where I'm supposed to go. And I got
It's not much more than a year ago.
Right. And I got a documentary that's going to be coming out, and probably a book too, and it's going to explain the whole thing, just because it's so like
When's
God.
that coming out?
It's so God.
When is that coming out?
I need that book.
Yeah.
When is that coming out, the documentary?
Yes.
I mean, I've seen parts of it already.
Yeah. Well, we're still working on it. We're hoping like later this year, yeah.
Okay.
So you're still filming right now, or
We got a
it's
few
done,
things to film.
post-production?
Like, a lot of it's done, but we got a few more things.
Okay, but now you are, again, the lead guitarist for Korn.
Well, there's 2 lead players, but
Whatever.
yeah.
I'm just saying you're playing with Korn. This is your life now. You're touring with them. Amazing.
Totally, and God's showing up everywhere.
And the most amazing thing is God let you keep the hair. It shows you He's not religious. We don't serve a religious God, right? He says, come as you are. Right?
And you know what? He doesn't want us to be offended by anybody or anything. He just wants us as a light in the darkness, right?
That's great.
I'm not offended by anybody or anything.
All right, Brian, so You know, when you say you're back with Korn, I mean, I know you and we've talked about this, but you know, a lot of people are thinking, wait a minute, is that a smart decision for you? I mean, it led you to such pain and misery and confusion and darkness, and now you're back there. What do you say to people who are saying this doesn't sound like a good idea?
I'm so strong right now, and there's people in there that are dealing with pain and confusion, and I'm gonna go grab them. So
And you're
it's
doing
totally,
that.
yeah, it's totally God-led. There's people backing me. I got counsel and everything going back in, and it's 100% where I'm supposed to be.
And
I
what,
know it.
What about the other guys in the band? Are they okay with where you are? Where are they in life at this point? This is 10 years later.
Oh, dude, everyone has changed. Everyone. So everyone's sober, and everyone's.
That's big right there.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
huge.
It's like there's no groupies backstage. There's no like coke dealers or nothing. It's just like we're all about music, friendship, and family, you know? And it's like, it's crazy. God worked on them in their way
While he was
while he's
working
working on
you.
me. Yeah. So,
Incredible.
I find that incredible that you
Yeah.
came full circle.
yeah,
Came
God
full
is a God of
circle.
restoration. He restores everything, and he's restoring everything in my life right now. Relationships, everything.
And how is your daughter? Is she good?
She's awesome. She's she's just that little angel, saved me, helped me come out of Korn, you know. God used her massively. And then 14, you know, she grew the one horn, and then so I went through some stuff with her. But she's doing really good now, and I couldn't be more proud of her.
Yeah. Wow, we're thrilled
I'm so
to have you here. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank
I
you
didn't
so
know
much.
that
Thank
she
you.
knew anything about it. This is just incredible. And we're going to link to your documentary on our website 100huntley.com. Thanks for being with us. We'll
Right
be
on.
back.
Thank you, guys.